Thank you. Great to be here today on the 25th of August, the last Tuesday of the month, as we do the Raw Leadership Talk, bringing the month of August to an end. Where are you tuning in from? Where are you tuning from? Say something. Wave to me. Say where you're tuning in from. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Those who are watching us on Facebook Live and those who are watching us on YouTube, welcome to the Raw Leadership Talk. It's your coach Dan Mugera, and I'm glad that you're here. Today we are looking at the power of freedom. We are looking at the power of freedom. Amazing time we're going to have. Caroline Wanga tuning in from Mombasa. Thank you for watching. Where are you tuning in from? The power of freedom. The power of freedom. Have an amazing time today, on the 25th of August. What's freedom? Why is freedom so important? How can we develop our own individual freedom by learning how to lead ourselves? Learning how to lead ourselves. In a moment, we will begin Talk of the Day. Daniel Musilbi, thank you for watching. Tuning in from Nairobi. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. This is amazing. Paul Curry tuning in from Maryland. Welcome to this platform. When it is Tuesday, it is the Raw Leadership Talk. When it is Tuesday, it is the Raw Leadership Talk. Amazing time we've been having this month of August, looking at leadership description. And today we look at the power of freedom as we close the month of August. Where are you tuning in from? Feel free to share, even as we go through this broadcast. What is that you're learning? Here are the Raw Leadership Talk to keep it raw. We say it as it is. We want people to learn. We are equipping you to empower you. Africa needs real stuff. Africa needs real stuff. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. The power of freedom. The power of freedom. Everybody loves freedom. Everybody loves freedom. Let me tell you that. That's why our forefathers took time to fight the colonizers so that we can be free. In different aspects of life, individuals strive for personal freedom. Individuals strive for personal freedom. You know, it's the desires of the majority to be free from poverty, sickness, ignorance, and other things. Unfortunately, we look so much into the outside things, but we do not strive to be free from what hinders us from the inside. And today there are a lot of people who are in self-constructed prisons. They may not be in the real physical prison, but they are in self-constructed prison that hinders them from enjoying freedom that they need to enjoy. People battle with strive, people battle with bitterness, people battle with jealousy, and other things that have trapped them and hinder them from moving to what I call the mountaintop of success and significance. It was the 29th of July, 1977. It had been a beehive of activities the whole week at the Cessnock Minimum Prison, security prison near Sydney, Australia. Now, both the prisoners and the prison official had been quite busy preparing for the annual sports day. Now, according to the organizers, all track and field events would take place within the prison. Only the 10-mile race would take place outside the prison walls. Now, all went well until this particular race started, this 10 miles race. In the 10 miles race, participants were required to run around the town of Cessnock, some 70 miles north of Sydney. The race attracted a large number of participants, and the prison authority had to station a large number of officers along the route to ensure that no prisoner escaped. However, to 5 prisoners, it was a race to freedom. To 5 prisoners, it was a race to freedom. The 5 did not escape on the route. No, they didn't do that. What they did, they went all the way to the finish line. Instead of stopping, like all the other prisoners at the finish line, they produced a kick that baffled the 2 officers that were stationed there and who had been cheering them on to finish the race. What happened? Instead of stopping at the finish line, they shoved aside the 2 officers and ran to freedom. It was later reported that they were seen several miles away. Apparently, the escapees had prior information that most of the prison officers would be stationed on the route of the race, and that only 2 unarmed officers would be at the finish line. Now, it later emerged the 5 had walked most of the race and only sprinted when they came close to the finish race. Well, this is an extreme story, and I'm not encouraging prisoners to escape from prison. But you know what? When we understand the power of freedom, we will run to freedom. When we understand the power of freedom, we will run to freedom. Freedom is sweet, or as the Greeks say, dose. Men still live in a self-constructed prison of life, and they don't know how to come out. Now, a lot of people pretend that they are free, but in real sense, most people are actually living in self-constructed prison of life. Now, the world is full of people with zeal for freedom. But as John Newton states, zeal without knowledge is like expedition to a man in the dark. Zeal without knowledge is like expedition to a man in the dark. We can't run onto freedom without know-how freedom. We have to understand the nitty-gritties of freedom and fight to defend the freedom that we have. But we will need something beyond just enjoying the freedom if we are going to move into the mountaintop of success and significance. If we are going to discover ourselves and live a fulfilled life, lead ourselves into the reality of destiny, then it's important to understand the nitty-gritty of freedom. Epictetus said this, and it's so powerful, that no man is free who is not a master of himself. No man is free who is not a master of himself. Are you a master of yourself? Or circumstances and situations seems to control you? Have you come to a place of awareness? Do you know who you are? in real sense. The greatest question I've ever asked even PhD holders is, who are you? And people who rush to tell you about their achievement, their academic development, and positions at workplace, but they do not know who really they are. The greatest trouble is people who are lost in the field or the forest of life, moving on without discovering themselves. No man is free who is not a master of himself. Now, it all begins here. The power of freedom becomes real the moment we begin to master ourselves. The moment we begin to master ourselves. Now, listen to me. I have heard of billionaires who are controlled by their wealth. Scientists who have become slaves to their expeditions. Professionals who have been confused with their achievements. And of course, fools who are confounded with their behaviors. Fools who are confounded with their behavior. It is Thomas Huxley who said, a man's worst difficulties begin when he is able to do as he likes. A man's worst difficulties begin when he is able to do as he likes. When you have the freedom to do as you like, that's where trouble begins. That's where trouble begins. When you are free to go where you want, to do what you want, to think what you want to think, that's where the trouble begins, when you do not know how to take control of your freedom. Now, what I think this statement is a parable, but it is true, in that the test of freedom begins right here. At this moment, one has to choose between wisdom and experience. One has to choose between wisdom and experience. So many people rely on experience, but experience is, as it is called, the best teacher. I do not think it is. Experience is not the best teacher. So many people have gone through hurting and terrible experiences, and they thought they had learned. Then they went through another terrible and hurtful experience, and they thought now they had it. Then they allowed themselves to go, and you don't want to go through experience after experience after experience. Why don't you get to a point where you can learn from the experiences of others sometimes? That's called wisdom. Now, when you apply wisdom in your freedom, the power of it becomes dulls sweetly. But if you want experience, here is what experience can offer. Somebody said that experience is something you get too late to do anything about the mistakes you made while getting it. Experience is something you get too late to do anything about the mistakes you made while getting it. It is Josh Billings who says, experience is a school where a man learns what a big fool he has been. Experience is a school where a man learns what a big fool he has been. Let me tell you this. In these words of Vera Sanders Law, that experience is a hard teacher because she gives the test first, then the lesson afterwards. Now, combine that with experience being a school, and then experience a hard teacher that gives the test first, then the lesson afterwards. Why would you want to go through such kind of an experience? Why would you want to go through such kind of life where, you go through the test first before you get the lesson afterward? But I like the words of Judith Stern, the way she puts it. She says, experience is a comb life gives you after you lose your hair. Experience is a comb life gives you after you lose your hair. Here you are, you have lost all your hair, and then now life presents you with a comb and say, okay, now you can learn how to take care of your hair. I'm sure you will agree with me. You don't want to go through such kind of experiences. You can learn from the experiences of others. There are enough mistakes that have been committed by enough leaders and enough professionals in this world that you can be able to learn. And I don't dispute the fact that sometimes it's needful to have your own experiences, but why don't you get to a point where you create positive experiences that help you to go a great mile to transform not only yourself, but the people that are around you. Now, we need education for us to enjoy our freedom. We need knowledge because wisdom is the right application of knowledge. Wisdom is the right application of knowledge. The kind of education that we need is not just the education that educates the brain. We need the kind of education that educates the hearts. Today we are in trouble in this part of the world because there are people who seem to have a lot of education, but the kind of education that they got simply gave them information. It didn't give them knowledge to empower them to transform them so that they can become transformational agents. Education means change. If you say you are educated, but you don't seem to have a change of heart, then there's something so terrible. We need to change our system of education so that it does not only educate the mind, but it gets to the point of educating the heart. We need education for us to enjoy our freedom. It is Henry Peter Bragan who said education makes people easy to lead, but difficult to drive, easy to govern, but impossible to enslave. Now, this is the kind of education I'm talking about, the education that seeks to change the heart of man. Now, the other kind of education involves the divinity, the reality that makes man understand how he was manufactured and who manufactured him, so that then they can position themselves to move into the right direction. You know, the problem in today's world is, as Lee Rudolph puts it, no one wants a good education. Everyone wants a good degree. No one wants a good education. Everyone wants a good degree. It's a pity. We are in such a terrible time when people will go back to school to get a diploma, to earn themselves a bachelor's degree, you know, go back and get a master's degree and even a PhD. But you know what? Nobody is looking for good education that empowers them and transforms them, enables them to lead themselves first before they seek to lead anybody around the world. Everybody wants a good degree. No one wants good education. Let me tell you this. This is a question I keep asking. And I'm going to ask you today. If academic qualification was not needed before you could get any employment, how many people will still go back to school? If academic qualification was never needed for you to be employed anywhere or to get a promotion, how many people will still go back to school? It is sad that no one wants a good education. Everyone wants a good degree. Now, to live a free life is to have the courage to live the life instead of allowing life to live you. This requires great mental capacity. Freedom comes when you begin to live life and stop allowing life to live you. When you stop allowing life to live you, then you begin to walk into freedom. Let me explain something here. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine on phone, and I asked him how is life, and he told me, I'm struggling. This is a statement we like saying a lot of times. He said, I'm struggling. Well, I do understand that sometimes people struggle in life and you don't want to fake it. But I answered him, I said, I'm not struggling. I am living life. I am not struggling. I am living life. You don't need to struggle with life. You simply need to live life one day at a time. The moment you understand how to live in the present and stop worrying about the future or disillusioned by the past, then you begin to allow yourself to walk into your freedom. Because there are a lot of people who live in the now, but they are so much concerned and worried about the future. Well, the future is not yet here. And when the future comes, it will still be today. It will no longer be the future. And a lot of people are being confounded by their past. And they refuse to let the past go so that they can walk into their present freedom. Antoine de Saint explains it. He said, I know about one freedom, and that is the freedom of the mind. I know about one freedom, and that is the freedom of the mind. To emphasize this point, I want to quote Bob Marley, who said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can redeem our minds. I know about one freedom, and that is the freedom of the mind. The greatest problem with Africa is a mentality problem. The greatest problem with the world is a mentality problem. We seem to have a lot of knowledge at our disposal, but it's simply information that we haven't turned it into knowledge to set us free from the shackles that imprison us and enslave us. The ability to think and reason is a great gift from God, because God has given us a sound mind. The issue is, how many of us make use of the sound mind? It is said that actually the majority of people, by the time they die, they have only utilized 10% of their brain power. How sad can that be? Think about it. The majority of people, by the time they die, they have only utilized 10% of their brain power. Purpose today, to develop individual leadership, to walk yourself into freedom, because you cannot lead the world unless you come to a place of leading yourself. You cannot push the world unless first you push yourself. It is Mr. Kopmeyer in his book, Thoughts to Build On, who says that always think first class. Always think first class. Don't clutter your mind with second class or third class thoughts. Freedom is in the first class. It is a journey. It is just as easy as to think big as it is to think small. You use the same energy to think big and when you think small. And remember, you actually become the sum total of your thoughts. You actually become the sum total of your thoughts. Now, you may think, oh, Dan Mugera today is doing a motivational talk. No. This is not a motivational talk. This is real life. This is real life. That they see people every day confronting these kind of things, and they enslave themselves without knowing. A lot of people seem to walk smart and they seem to walk in places, drive, but you know what? Inside them, they are battling with issues. How come there are a lot of people who have become so suicidal recently? How come there are a lot of people who have become suicidal recently? How come there are a lot of people who are battling with bitterness and stress? These are issues of mental health that we need to discover so that we can recover. We need to stop our pettiness so that we can move into greatness. When you discover, you will indeed recover. Now you can become no bigger, no better, no finer, no more successful than your dominant thoughts. Your thoughts plays a big role in enabling you to become who you are. The power of freedom operates from your mind. The power of freedom operates from your mind. Life is not going to give you more than you ask. Let me tell you that. Your thoughts are the fuel for achievement. Your thoughts are the fuel for achievement. And achievement is not just getting a new car, a new house, or getting a promotion at your place of work, or getting another degree. Achievement is when you become better from the inside, when you are able to battle with your bitterness and avoid depression, when you are able to move into the reality of destiny and live a fulfilled life, when you are able to be satisfied with who you are and become aware of the capacity and skills that you have been endowed by God Himself. That is by itself achievement. Now, most of the time, life does not give you what you deserve. It gives you what you demand. Now, I urge you today to demand from life what is your rightful share. Life is not fair. I will tell you that. If you're waiting for life to get fair, life is not about to get fair to you, to get fair to everybody. It's going to get worse, it's going to get terrible. But you know what? We got to put a positive mind and become optimistic. Move beyond that, become realistic, but go ahead to become creative so that we can change our situation. So think big about your future. Think creatively. Think big about your future. Think creatively. Think, how can I improve? Think, how can I do more? How can I stretch myself to become a better person? How can I move myself into the reality of destiny? It is Emerson who deeply believed in the force of thought. And he said, there is no thought in any mind, but it quickly tends to convert itself into a power. Every thought that comes to you or mind, let me tell you, I'm a student of cognitive psychology, and this is the reality. Every thought within you has the capacity to generate energy, and it converts into a power and directs you into what the thought is all about. If it's a negative thought, it begins to lead you. Unless you cut the flow of power that generates and transforms that thought, you will move into that negative path. If it's a positive thought, the same way it generates power to move you into the reality of destiny. These are real stuff, ladies and gentlemen. These are real stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It is Jonathan Edwards who emphasizes that the ideas and images in men's minds are the invisible powers that constantly govern them. What kind of ideas do you entertain? What kind of images do you entertain? Did you know that if you have big ideas and you entertain great images within your mind, nobody's going to bring you a bill? That you thought so much big things, so you need to pay for it. Nobody's going to bring you a bill for that. The ideas and images in men's minds are the invisible powers that constantly govern them. The invisible power that constantly govern them. Nobody sees it, but you know what? These things affect you either positively or negatively. The power of freedom. You know, the thoughts of our mind determine our attitude. The thoughts of our mind determine our attitude. John C. Maxwell, in his book, The Winning Attitude, said, attitude, it is the advanced man of our true selves. Its roots are inward, but its fruits is outward. It is our best friend or our worst enemy. Your attitude is either your best friend or your worst enemy. It is more honest and more consistent than our words. Listen to me. Our attitudes are more honest and consistent than our words. You can say one thing, but look, if your attitude is totally different, then that attitude will be more consistent than your word. Tomorrow you will change and say another thing, and you will portray your real attitude. It is an outward look based on past experiences. It is a thing which draws people to us or repels them. It is never content until it is expressed. Attitude is never content until it is expressed. That's why I say you cannot put a balloon underwater for so long, it will simply pop up. It is the librarian of our past. It is the speaker of our present. It is the prophet of our future. Your attitude is the librarian of your past, the speaker of your present, and the prophet of your future. And to emphasize the words of John C. Maxwell, Viktor Frankl said that the last of the human freedom is to choose one's attitude. The last of human freedom is to choose one's attitude. What kind of attitude have you chosen? Is it a rotten attitude or it's positive attitude? Is it an attitude that empowers you and transforms you to become a better person? Or is it an attitude that imprisons you? That you walk around and you see people are growing, people are developing, and you know what? You become envious, bitter, and feeling like you are God-forgotten kind of a bastard. That's not the truth. That is not the truth. I am convinced that nothing can stop the person with the right attitude towards achieving his personal goal in life and ultimately gain the power of freedom. Nothing can stop the person with a positive attitude. Adlai E. Stevenson says this: the freedom is not an ideal. It is not even a protection if it means nothing more than the freedom to stagnate. If your kind of freedom enables you to stagnate through life, then that's not the right of freedom. It doesn't mean anything. If your freedom has enabled you to regress, then that's not the right freedom. Or you need to master the art of taking care of your freedom so that you can move in the right direction. So today I want to urge us to change our life to freedom with a good attitude. To change our life to freedom with a good attitude. In the words of William James, the psychologist and philosopher, he termed the revolution the discovery that human beings can change their lives by changing their attitudes. Human beings can change their lives by changing their attitude. What a powerful reality. You today can change your life by changing your attitude. I want you to take a piece of paper and draw a line in between and write negative and positive, and then begin to list the kind of negative attitude that most of the time bombard you and affect you terribly. And then on the right side where you've written positive, begin to write positive attitude that can enable you to counter each negative attitude that you have written down. And begin the journey of life to practice this reality and see yourself transforming to become a better person. It is Voltaire, ladies and gentlemen, who said, man is free the moment he wishes to be. Man is free the moment he wishes to be. Ladies and gentlemen, the reality of the power of freedom is within your mind. Don't look for freedom on the outside. Look for it in the inside of you. Because in the inside of you is where good stuff comes from. You know, gold, diamond, oil comes from beneath the earth. It is within your heart that good stuff also comes in. Good behaviors, good attitude, good ideas come from beneath you. And today, you can choose to become a better person. I will encourage you to visit our website, www.publicspeakingtc.org, and see the kind of program that we offer in personal development, leadership, and also public speaking. Today, you can choose to become a better communicator. You can choose to take yourself and develop your leadership skills and develop yourself in your own personal life to become a better person. I will encourage you also to like our page on Facebook, the Africa Center for Public Speaking. I will really enjoy you being part and parcel of this bandwagon. And then also, I will urge us to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please go there and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that together we can move this raw leadership talk to the next level. I'm here as your coach to engage with you. Please drop me a message, send me a text and tell me, Dan, this message has impacted me. I want to be part and parcel of your team. I want to grow. I want to sign up for a program in your organization. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.